Yes, guys, welcome back to another brand new video. Now, in this episode, we like to discuss only three things. Only three things. But first, let me say this. I know I'm wearing a little bit of a different outfit for the kind of video that we're making today, but don't mind it, people. Don't mind it. I just got back from a little function, but the content still has to go on. It doesn't matter. After this, then we can go and clean up and go to bed, but the content has to go on. We don't stop. We don't stop. So now, without wasting anyone's time, let's talk or let's discuss three things. Only three. Like I said, we don't like to look. In many games, there's always more than three things that you learn. You can even spend a whole day just discussing. But today we just or in this episode rather, we just like to talk about three main things. So we played West Ham in the London Stadium, and we got 3 points. We won 3-0. Jackson with the brace, and Cole Palmer obviously with one on the score sheet. Now, I want to give praise to two people. So that's going to be 2 points, right? I'm going to do one person and another person. Now, I want to give praise to Enzo Maresca because I think he played, it seemed or it looked as if he really spent his time, studying what kind of a play, what kind of a game he was willing to bring to West Ham because, it's always a tough game going to West Ham. But if I'm looking at the game plan, it looked as though first maybe I would say 30 minutes, the team was on fire. We were chasing our goals. We got our 2 goals. And then it looked, some people might say it became a little bit boring because we were just sitting back, just waiting for them to attack on us and just defending. But if I'm being honest, we are 2 goals in front. Now, I'm not saying that's enough for you to let the game go because 2 goals in the Premier League is as good as probably a draw, because if a team scores 1, then they get the momentum and the belief that they can get another one. So I'm not saying that you should always feel as though the game is closed only when you're 2 goals ahead. But in that instance, there was no need for our players to keep killing themselves because we saw Jackson and Christopher Nkunku, Jackson and Cole Palmer, they were pressing up higher the line, and the coach even said it. So there was no point of having to go for 45 minutes just pressing like that. So yeah, I don't mind the boys because I saw even Jadon Sancho and Madueke, they dropped down a little bit, even Jackson and Cole Palmer. They were playing in our boxes, just waiting for them to attack. Now, that's not really something I go for, but I can sort of understand basing on the game that we just played and the team that we're playing against. It's a derby. So, and then we came second half. Again, we started on fire. We got our goal, three goals ahead. Again, there's no point of killing us as well. And then in the 65, 70 minutes, we're seeing, substitutes come on, Joao Felix come on, Pedro Neto coming on, Disasi taking Fofana out. We're seeing these little, Christopher Nkunku coming, Jackson sitting down. We're seeing these little changes. Now, with these people, I'm not expecting them to come in and sit. I'm expecting them to come and bring on the game, and that's why we were crying for depth. So yeah, in that point, obviously our team kept on the momentum and kept believing and kept going and going. Even when West Ham was coming through us, our defensive, we were really, really good, and that's another praise that I want to give. But my second point was going to give it to Caicedo. I don't know how many times I have to keep reminding people online that Caicedo is way better than Rice. This is the last time I want to hear this debate. Don't ever come to me chat about Rice being better than Caicedo. When you play them as a 6, Caicedo is a better 6 than Rice. When you, for some reason, maybe you play them as 8, Caicedo is a better forward passing. He has a better passing, going forward. He is a better shooter, I think. Yeah, or maybe not. But I think Caicedo still offers you more when you want him to protect the defenders, even when you want him to, link up with the attacking midfielders, even the striker. We saw he had an assist. I'm not saying Declan Rice didn't have an assist, but The only thing that I can say Declan Rice is probably good at is probably maybe converting chances into goals, like set pieces, you know. But other than that, man, I'm praising Caicedo. Yes, of course, we can argue that maybe he wasn't a 115 million pounds or euros. I don't know what the current was, but we can. That's a different conversation for a different day. But I think since the day he came to Chelsea, yes, of course, the first few games, one of those games, it was against West Ham actually when he had a stinker, but from then backwards, going forward, he was really good, you know. And that's another thing is what I have to give to Maresca, because we were seeing Enzo Fernandez going forward as much, leaving Caicedo with too much spaces to cover. Now we saw Caicedo and Enzo playing right next to each other, which is what Gallagher was doing when Enzo was not well. So to me, that was good to see as well, that there's a bit of changes within our midfield. Now, could they get any better? For sure, they can get better. Enzo can give us more than what he gave us yesterday. That's not to take anything he did away yesterday, but I think he can still offer us more to the team. But this is going to be my last point, and I'm serious about this one. I'm not even joking. I think, let me say this here. I've said this so many times about Madueke. Madueke, I think it's time for him to start off the bench. Madueke reminds me of that little cousin or little brother, that just gets angry and moody when parents are talking nice about the other sibling. You look at him when Jackson assisted to Cole Palmer. He was mad that I didn't cross the ball to him. Now, there were instances where I could have been like, okay, maybe Pedro Neto could have squared the ball to Madueke, but you don't. It's a bit of a childish mentality to have, and I don't like it at all. And I think looking at his performances as well from the previous 2 games, not really been good. So I'm crying for Pedro Neto to go on that right side, if I'm being honest. So yeah, Madueke needs to be dropped, man. He has to do more, and his attitude needs to change. Maybe it's just me, but I think he has such a bad attitude. It's like an immature kid. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's only like, 22, 23? Really young. But I can, I've met also I've seen other 19-year-old Yamile Yamal, much more mature than Madueke. I think he needs to start off the bench, and that's not me saying he's a bad player. I just think Pedro Neto will be better as a starter until maybe Madueke changes his attitude. Yeah, I'm happy for him to be on the bench. But yeah, man, these are 3 things that I wanted to discuss in this video. Other than that, I'll see you on the preview for Barrow in the EFL Cup, which is on Wednesday or Thursday if you're in Australia. But yeah, man, we are.